Move on to Mombasa, where my colleague Kevin Mutai has an update on the Likoni Ferry tragedy. Kevin Mutai, what's the latest from that end?
Well, thank you so much, Julian Samboko. It's the third day, and right now, this particular time, I'm told that different government officials led by government spokesman Cyrus Oguna are currently in a meeting before beginning another day of a recovery operation. Remember yesterday, MD Kenya Ferry Services said that they had already located the vehicle, and they had given us two positions, and that is one at 75 feet and the other at 173 feet. And as at yesterday in the evening, they said that they had to shut down the recovery exercise because of the weather, and of course it was also the dark, that they said they had no access to that particular point because of the darkness. And they said that they will do everything possible to ensure that they will retrieve the bodies of the victims. But he also assured, the chairman of the Kenya Ferry Services also assured the family that they will reimburse them back their 100,000 shillings. These are the monies the family paid to private divers to retrieve the bodies of their loved one. Here we're talking about Mariam Kagendu and her 4-year-old daughter Amanda Mudeu. And right now, as you can see, those are boats owned by the Navy, and they will be they'll be playing a big part in today's recovery mission, and it is about to begin anytime from now. Remember yesterday, the Kenya Ferry Services also issued an advisory that today from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. The ferry services will be halted for a period of at least 2 hours to give room for divers to go back in the sea and start the recovery exercise. Remember, it is a process that has taken over 3 days now, and at least the Kenya Ferry Services, who are in charge of this particular part, are insisting, or rather maintaining, that they will do whatever they can to ensure that they retrieve the bodies of Mariam and Amanda. Remember, the accident occurred on Sunday at 6:15 p.m. and since then there's nothing that we've not seen anything happening apart from the research from the search and recovery operation that began yesterday at 10 o'clock in the morning, and they've been really engaging all the stakeholders. We are informed that Chemfree, KWS and different government agencies have sent their representatives to be part of this mission. Those working towards us, those are a team of security officials from KFS, from the Kenya Ports Authority, and other stakeholders who will be part of this joint recovery operation to ensure that they try as much as they can to bring this exercise to an end today. And I'm told that they had a briefing, they had planned a briefing on how they wanted to conduct the exercise today, and we will be trying to hear from what they will be saying. But as they plan to address us, we are also informed that they will be conducting this exercise, all of them together. But as at 8 o'clock this morning, the ferry services, the Kenya Ferry Services, had already dispatched a team of divers, and right now they are already at sea, and I believe you can see them in small boats, and one of the boats, actually, they are owned by the Kenya Ferry Services. The other one, I'm told, is from the Kenya Divers, which are based here in Mombasa, and they are all part and parcel of this joint recovery operation. And remember, there are so many questions also that are part from whatever is going on right now. The Kenyans are really asking tough questions as to what really needs to be done in order to ensure that the country does not suffer such kind of tragedies in the near future. So many have had their input on what needs to be done. The Kenya Ferry managing director Director Bakari Goa yesterday said that they have already laid down short-term and long-term procedures to ensure that this kind of tragedies will not occur again. And one of the things that they said as the management, they will ground at least all the ferries that are faulty for a period of even 2 years to ensure that they undergo overhaul servicing before they're brought back to the channel again, but also reiterating that all the ferries that will be deemed not usable again will be diverted to other activities here in the channel. But remember, if you're joining this broadcast right now, today is the day that the Kenya Ferry Services, the Kenya Navy, among other government stakeholders and agencies, have come together to conduct a joint recovery operation and towards the efforts to try and retrieve the bodies of Amanda Mudeu and her mother Mariam Kagendu. They both suffered from, rather they both died on Sunday after the car they were on board inside MV Harambe at the Likoni Channel plunged into the sea. Of course, the investigations are still going on, and the authorities are trying to establish what exactly happened, how the vehicle reversed, and it reversed off from the ferry. But of course, we've had different aspects of what occurred. We've had people saying that the vehicle, the brakes of the vehicle had not been engaged, but those are just the theories that will be able to substantiate from the authorities. But of course, questions will also come up as to why, if at all, that ferry had no ramp, as in if the ramp was not raised, or at least there were no chains across the two sides of the ramp, then of course they'll be also trying to outline, or rather reveal as to why exactly what happened. But we will be following keenly, and will be updating our viewers on what the authorities will decide on that matter. I'm seeing the chairman of the Kenya Ferry is here. I've seen OCPD from the Likoni side is here. I've seen Managing Director Bakari Goa is here. Officials from the Kenya Ports Authority, they're here. The security chiefs from the Kenya Navy, they're here. I've also seen that officials from the sub-sea, those are the contractors who are contacted by the Kenya Ferry Services to come and join the recovery operation, and they're already here on the ground. Yesterday we also received reports that some of their services were temporarily halted. We don't know if that is indeed true, but we were told that they were halted because some of the government officials had come in handy with equipment that they said will help in the recovery mission, and so there was no need to seek external services to conduct this operation. Remember, yesterday we saw some advanced technology, including some cameras that were sent deep into the sea, and that is what actually the MD told us, that was they were able to locate the vehicle using those particular equipments. And Julians, right now, as you can see, the 4 ferries are currently operating, and I'm told that any minute from now, as soon as the officials addresses the media, all of them will be grounded on the other side of the channel, that is the Likoni, so as to keep this other channel, the other side of the channel from the island, open to pave way for the operation exercise, as the divers are ready, setting themselves up for another day of the recovery mission. It's indeed been a tiring process, especially for the family members who've been waiting here at the ferry. They've been here for 3 days agonizing about the death of their loved ones, and what they only want is to see a successful retrieval of the bodies of Amanda and Mariam. It's indeed a sad day again, for not only for the family, but of course also for Kenyans who's been siding with the family and of course the friends and relatives who've been giving them comfort and having at least giving them hope that they will soon at least see the bodies of their loved one. Even the Kenya Ferry themselves yesterday, they said categorically that they will leave no stone unturned. They will do whatever they can to ensure that they retrieve the bodies of Amanda and Mariam. And of course also yesterday the chairperson, or rather the spokesperson from the family, also took issue with the effort and telling the management of the Kenya Ferry Services that as the family, they were not going to put the blame on the Kenya Ferry Services, but instead on the government if at all this operation fails. And they were very categorical that somebody must be responsible, must be held into account following this tragedy that has even really sent shock waves to residents of this particular region. Thousands and thousands of people are using the services of the ferry here between the island and the mainland, that is from the Likoni and the island in Mombasa. It is a stretch of about 300 to 400 meters, and we are told that it is as deep as 60 meters, but at least the vehicles, what we know so far is that they have been located. That is according to the statement that the Kenya Ferry Services issued yesterday. At least they have located the vehicles. What will happen right now is to at least try and come up with ways on how to make sure that they pull it up. And the MD actually said that they have set out some ways of how they will do the recovery operation. If at all they will see if there is a need to first begin with the bodies, or rather they will pull up the vehicle altogether. But they also don't know if the windows were open. They're not sure about that. And if they were closed, of course they'll also come up with ways to ensure that they will be able to retrieve the bodies. As at yesterday, the ferries here, people were really crowded, eagerly waiting to see how the operation will be conducted. And even as I can see right now, hundreds of them are starting to mill around the ferry. They're waiting to see, because the kind of operation that will be conducted today, we believe, will be a success, because yesterday even top officials from the government were not there, but today they're here. And Julians, indeed it is something that we will be following up keenly, and we will be back to you with more information as soon as the joint operation team here briefs us, or rather when they're ready to give us information on how they will be conducting this exercise.